10. Saddam Hussein. At the dawn of the 21st century, Saddam Hussein stood as a formidable adversary to the United States. His reign was marked by severe atrocities that showcased his dangerous potential. Despite his fearsome reputation, Hussein's era also catalyzed significant advancements that transformed everyday life in Iraq. Under his leadership, Iraq boasted some of the premier universities and hospitals in the Arab world, accessible to all at no cost. Literacy rates soared remarkably from 52% to 80% over a decade, reflecting educational improvements that deeply impacted Iraqi society. Nonetheless, his oppressive tactics ultimately overshadowed these achievements, leading to widespread discontent that culminated in the dismantling of his statues and celebrations at his demise. It is an ironic testament to his rule that many Iraqis learned to read about his downfall directly due to the educational systems he established. 9. Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan and his forces reshaped Asia with an iron hand, imposing their rule through extreme measures in cities that resisted subjugation. By the end of his dominion, Genghis Khan had not only reduced the global population by nearly 20%, but also seized control over a substantial portion of the Earth's terrain. Despite the harsh reality for those who opposed him, life within the Mongol Empire was marked by surprising prosperity and freedom. The Mongolian Khans championed religious tolerance, elevating leaders of Buddhist and Muslim faiths to prominent government positions. An innovator, Genghis Khan founded one of the world's earliest international postal systems, spanning from Russia to China and boasting over 1,400 postal stations in China alone. This vast network fostered unprecedented economic growth in the conquered regions, which benefited from both cultural and religious freedoms, allowing them to thrive under Mongolian oversight. 8. The Nazis. It's a curious contradiction that the Nazis, known for their brutal regime, displayed a significant concern for animal welfare. Records indicate that Adolf Hitler, alongside Joseph Goebbels, harbored a deep sympathy for animals, influencing surprisingly progressive policies during their reign. They enacted numerous legislations aimed at minimizing animal suffering, mandating humane slaughter methods for livestock and even specifying cooking processes for lobsters and crabs to alleviate pain. Furthermore, they pioneered the prohibition of vivisection, a practice involving live animals in experimental research, setting a precedent now upheld in most advanced nations. This historical anomaly illustrates a complex facet of the Nazi regime, reflecting their unique approach to animal rights amidst their widespread disregard for human life. 7. Pope Alexander VI. Pope Alexander VI is often cast as the quintessential villain of the Vatican, heading the notorious Borgia family, renowned for scandalous excesses and ruthless power plays. Yet, to the Jewish refugees of 1492, he stood as a beacon of mercy. As they fled the Spanish expulsion, destitute and rejected by many, Alexander VI welcomed 9,000 souls into the Papal States, offering them sanctuary and the freedom to practice their faith, despite intense external pressures to renounce his decision. Alexander VI steadfastly protected these refugees under his aegis. While some speculate that his motivations were to spite Spain, the undeniable outcome remains that his intervention saved countless lives, painting a complex portrait of a man who could both provoke controversy and champion humanity. 6. Aaron Burr. Aaron Burr, often remembered solely as the vice president who tragically ended Alexander Hamilton's life in a duel, was more than a historical antagonist. Before this infamous event, Burr enjoyed immense popularity, nearly eclipsing Thomas Jefferson in a presidential race due to his widespread support. His advocacy was transformative, challenging the status quo that only landowners could vote by establishing land co-ops. thereby empowering the disenfranchised to have a voice in their government. Burr also advanced women's rights, fervently supporting a vindication of the rights of woman, and ensuring his daughter Theodosia was celebrated for her remarkable education, setting a standard for future generations. 5. Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong presided over the most devastating loss of life ever seen under a single leader. His great leap forward led to the tragic deaths of more than 45 million of his own people over just 4 years due to catastrophic policies. Despite the severe hardships and oppressions, the era under Mao marked a notable shift toward a more peaceful period in China's long and tumultuous history. Prior to his reign, China was beleaguered by incessant violence and the chaos of the warlord era, swiftly followed by foreign invasions and successive civil conflicts. Mao's ascension brought an end to these relentless wars, ushering in a prolonged era of peace that has persisted in the People's Republic, with China avoiding any major wars ever since. Although Chinese troops have participated in limited external engagements and internal security operations, the establishment of the People's Republic has predominantly been a time of peace and stability for China. 4. Joseph Stalin. Joseph Stalin's governance was marked by stringent control that profoundly impacted Russia. He is often criticized for the deaths of 20 million of his compatriots, painting a grim picture of his rule. However, a contrasting perspective reveals some striking improvements during his era. Under Stalin, the average lifespan of Russians remarkably increased from 32 to 68 years, a testament to significant advancements in public health and welfare. Prior to the Communist Revolution, Russia was mired in severe poverty, with most living as peasants. Stalin's introduction of successive 5-year plans catalyzed a dramatic transformation. These plans led to a doubling of employment rates, a 40% boost in industrial output, and a staggering annual growth rate of 18%. Moreover, the era saw the introduction of universal free healthcare and education, contributing to a steep decline in diseases and enhancing overall quality of life. 3. Pol Pot. During the 20th century, Pol Pot and his Khmer Rouge regime were responsible for the devastating loss of over 3 million lives, nearly half of Cambodia's then population. This era of brutality is universally regarded with disdain, though intriguingly, certain segments of the rural populace held a different view. Before Pol Pot's rule, Cambodia languished under Lon Nol, whose tenure was marred by rampant corruption. When the Khmer Rouge usurped Lon Nol, the U.S. retaliated by launching extensive bombing campaigns across Cambodia's rural areas. Upon seizing power, Pol Pot radically restructured property rights, dismantling the holdings of affluent landowners to redistribute land among the impoverished rural communities. This dramatic shift granted unprecedented control and new prospects to the previously disenfranchised peasants. Controversially, author Israel Shamir has documented conversations with Cambodian farmers who remember Pol Pot not as a tyrant, but as a revolutionary hero who empowered them by redistributing land. 2. Muammar Gaddafi. Colonel Muammar Gaddafi's regime was marred by his brutal repression and horrific acts against his own people. Yet, it's critical to acknowledge the paradox of his governance. Amidst the turmoil, Gaddafi implemented remarkable social policies aimed at fostering social equality. Under his leadership, Libya saw the establishment of universal free education for both genders and comprehensive healthcare at no cost. He also made ambitious attempts to provide free housing to all citizens, a vision that, while not fully realized, underscored his commitment to social welfare. Furthermore, women experienced unprecedented advancement, securing opportunities across various sectors, including high-ranking positions in government and the military. His initiative to include women in his elite cadre of bodyguards, known as the Amazons, exemplified his progressive stance on women's empowerment in a region often resistant to such change. 1. Ivan the Terrible. Despite Ivan the Terrible's fearsome reputation, marked by severe paranoia that led him to massacre his own people and tragically kill his son, his rule had transformative effects on Russia. Ivan's belief in widespread conspiracies drove him to enact drastic measures against those he suspected. Yet his reign was not devoid of significant advancements. It's worth considering that Ivan's survival possibly spared Russia from greater turmoil. Notably, he pioneered the formation of an early constitutional monarchy, allowing provinces to elect their own officials, which was a progressive step towards decentralized governance. Moreover, Ivan established pivotal trade routes with England and Holland, boosting the economy and enhancing the quality of life for many. These routes not only offered peasants pathways to more prosperous lands, but also laid the groundwork for Peter the Great's later reforms, which catapulted Russia into a major global power. In retrospect, Ivan's contributions may suggest that the foundations laid by controversial leaders can be crucial for the achievements of future generations. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more content. Also, don't forget to share this video with your friends. We appreciate your support. Bye.